Shadows asleep amidst the trees. Bats all are swaying in the breeze. But one so light, anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags and wraiths. For your dolly Polly sleep has flown, don't dare let her tremble alone. For the wheelchair, heartless cold, paid in coin of gold. He comes, he'll go, leave naught behind but heartache and woe. Deep, deep woe. It's all silent for the night. Cows turned in as daylight dies. But when so light lunches wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags and wraiths, my dear Dolly.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our live discussion show, swapped over from yesterday as we did the Haunted Connections show yesterday. So we're bringing this to you from the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley, Leicester. And of course we're sponsored by Sims Vintage Antiques in Warren near Stratford. So a big welcome to everyone. Tonight we're going to be discussing some of the live feeds that we've been doing recently up at the Research Centre, and the live feeds that are going to be coming up over the weekend. So yeah, what we've been up to, Neil, in the live feeds?
Well, Saturday we did, well, Friday we did a members only exclusive live feed, so that was good fun.
Yeah.
Saturday we did a 3-hour mammoth live feed, didn't we, to everyone to watch?
Yeah.
And
yeah, and that was really good.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing it. I was more than happy the way it went, because I think it's nice having people in the studio like you and Tina were in the studio.
Yeah.
So when we changed rooms, the viewers didn't watch that bit when we're moving. So that went back to you and Tina to talk about what would have been going on.
Yeah.
And answer any questions that people have asked. So I thought that worked really well.
Yeah, it did.
I don't think you saw the best piece of evidence actually in the sounds room. Did you actually see the table move?
We could hear you talking about it, but you couldn't actually see it.
Yeah, Amy's face was a picture because she'd never seen anything like it. The table was actually twisting, then it twisted back. So
which table have you got in there at the minute? Is it the round heavy one that moved when Paul Stevenson was there and Barry Guy?
No.
Or is it one of the square ones?
We've got two of the square ones putted up against each other, but it was only one that was moving. That was quite good. And we tried to recreate it, but we got a tablecloth on the table, so we couldn't move the table. No, if we were pushing it, we'll just push the tablecloth. So it's a shame the viewers didn't actually see that, but it definitely did move more than once. So
yeah.
And let's put Amy's comment up. Amy says it really twisted. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was good.
So, yeah, it was good. Sarah says you got a bit scared at that point, Neil. I must admit, the sounds room was a bit freaky that night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I do believe we had Alistair Crowley come through, which is what I wanted, and that's why we did his voice doing his chant. So that's and we had his death mask in there. So that's what I wanted. But then it got a bit more stranger, didn't it?
Yeah.
And at that point, I actually asked you what's here, but unfortunately, I couldn't hear what Tina and you were saying. It was just all crackly and awful.
So do you think that's Alistair playing with the equipment?
Well, we know he does, don't we?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting this Saturday if I can hear you and Tina properly, because we're doing another one this Saturday. So
Yeah.
if I can hear you and Tina properly, that's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I was getting a bit freaked out in the sounds room, what do you think was actually there?
Well, it is a bit difficult to say because I've just got to rely on really spirit sort of telling me what they think's going on, and from what I was sort of picking up when you're in the I think it was the war room or in the dolls room, and the glass was just going round and round and round and round and round quite quickly. Then I was thinking then that you know, it felt to me like that wasn't human. It felt like it wasn't from this world, and it was a bit sort of confused trying to work out where it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was quite a strong energy, and then it sort of went, didn't it? And then in the seance room, it did it again, didn't it? It was just going round and round and round, and it did feel that bit stronger then, that it, you know, I felt it was some sort of other being that was, you know, that sort of come through, and it was just confused. It wasn't quite sure where it was. So I thought that was really quite interesting.
Let's put some comments up. Craig says, would have loved to see that. Yeah, it's a shame that the camera didn't show it up. Now, with hindsight, we would have moved the camera down so you could see it, but at the time you're in the zone. Colette says, I only saw a bit of it because I was at work. What I saw was great. I will have to watch it again. Yeah, it is still on. It's still on Facebook. It's still on the YouTube channel. So you can always catch up. My mate Bloss said Neil scares easy. Yeah, I do. It was a bit freaky though, I must admit. Craig,
sorry, carry on.
Craig says, I'm from Canada and against the dark paranormal. I think, is that your team, Craig? Against the dark paranormal? Then I think this is Amy again, and we got a pentagram on the Ouija board. Yeah, at one point in the sound room, it was drawing out a pentagram.
Yeah, what sort of pentagram though? Was it, you know, was it the right way up? Was it the upside down one? Was it or a pentacle? Or
I think it was the right way up, but towards where Alistair's death mask is.
Right.
But nothing special about it. It was just going around doing that shape. Yeah. Craig says, do you guys have evidence? We do have an evidence page on Facebook of lots of photos and EVPs and things that people can look and give us their opinion on. So that's always there. Sarah says, I thought it was very good how you and Amy knew each time a different energy came through. Yeah, you can always tell on the Ouija board, can't you? Or on the writing planchette. It just does feel different. Yeah,
and you could also feel that there was they were more or less sort of queuing up. You know, there was lots of people in there to just step in as soon as somebody else moved off.
Yeah.
You know, it's that constant sort of taking over.
And this is Amy again. Oh, I didn't click on it. Hang on. And the name Steve spelled on the planchette was too perfect. Yeah, in the doll's room on the writing planchette, it spelled out Steve. which was kind of interesting because we know there's a Steve at the centre.
Yeah.
And also on the Friday night, the members only live we did, Steve said he wanted to talk to us tomorrow night, which was Saturday night. So, and it did appear that he did come through.
Yeah.
Craig says, okay, cool, we'll look it up. Yeah, I'm not saying all the photos of evidence. They're just interesting things that we've caught and other teams have caught. Amy says, it depends on which way you're seeing the pentagram. Yeah. And Craig says, energy change and build up. Yeah, you could feel that the energy was changing, couldn't you? Actually watching, Jane.
Yeah.
Then Sarah says, if you didn't watch the live we're talking about, Craig, it's still on the page. It's well worth a watch. Yes, it's interesting. So what else did you like about Saturday night, Jane? What do you think?
I think the timing was pretty good. I think 3 hours was just about right because it seemed to go really quite quick. And because in the first sort of 2 hours you only had like half an hour in each room, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I think that was just enough. I think any more and it would be perhaps too much. And any less than that, and then you're not necessarily getting your full paranormal fix as such. So yeah. I think 3 hours is about right, and I think doing the seance room last and spending more time in there was a good plan. I think it would have been nice to see Amy have a bit more activity in the Chamber of Fear.
Yeah.
I think she was only sort of in there about 20 minutes, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So, but all in all, each bit followed each bit, and it was good to watch the different things in each room. And like I say, we've not been, with only spending sort of a limited time in each room, it didn't particularly get boring, but you had enough in there, enough going on in each room to make it interesting and enjoyable to watch.
That's good. Yes. Bloss says she's not keen on the automatic writing. Yeah, why is that, Bloss? Let us know why you're not keen on it. Sarah said it went too quick. And Craig obviously doesn't know the centre. Craig says Chamber of Fear. What, Jane, explain the Chamber of Fear.
Well, the Chamber of Fear is just a small room that's got enough for sort of 2 people maximum really in there. And usually most people use it on their own. And there's mirrors in there. There's mirrors all around the room, and you generally sit in it on your own in the dark and either do scrying or you'll sit with an object, one of the items of the centre, or you'll just sit there and just sort of, call out generally and just see if what happens. And it's a very interesting little room.
Yeah. Anna says, Craig says, I'm in, let's go. Anna said it was great. Okay. Sarah says, what was it Ant saw when he was doing the Esther's method? Okay, yeah, the second Esther's method would actually work because the first one didn't work. The SB11 weren't picking anything up at all. So, and that's a good thing the way we do the show, because we can just cut from us, go to YouTube, and we'll move on, what we did. But we did go back with an SB7, which is Ant's new one. That was reacting for the temperature, which is interesting. But what he saw that made him stop was, I think it was something like a clown or someone holding a head, and he had the blood dripping from its neck. So I don't know why he got that put in his head.
You just made me think of something. Just having a while you're talking, I'm just having a little look in my book because that rings a bell with something.
Yeah. So Ant saw what he said it wasn't very nice, so that's why he stopped it. That's the way we do the centre. We'll keep going as far as it's comfortable for us all to do, but we know when to stop. So Ant didn't like what he saw. So Bloss says, because a lot of them not able to write, feel sorry for them. Yeah, I understand that. So have you found it, Jane?
One of the good things with the writing planchette, though, is that you know, you don't necessarily have to spell. You can draw pictures or symbols or other things to you know, other things for them to sort of communicate.
Yeah. Irene, I think, is in Japan, and she shared it for us. Thank you, Irene. And so has Craig in Canada. So thank you for that.
Was the head human?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we've had this before. Back in April 2019, and it was associated with the hooded figure coming out of the mirror.
All right. This is why Jane gets paid the mega bucks.
I know it rang a bell, but I just needed to find it in my book. That's all.
Yeah, if people don't know about Jane's book, Jane keeps a book of everyone she sees at the centre. So the book is invaluable, isn't it?
Yeah, because I wouldn't have remembered that off the top of my head. But well, I remembered, you know, holding up heads and a very bloody sort of yeah, there was yeah, I do remember that, and it was associated with the hooded figure that came out of the mirror.
Yeah, okay, let's put this comment up from Craig. Craig says, same place every time. Yes, all our live feeds will be coming from the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre, which is the place that we own. If you don't know, it's a haunted building, and it's full of potentially haunted objects. But but we like doing it from the same place because that's the only place we're allowed in at the minute, because we're not allowed to go other locations anyway. Plus, we don't get many quiet nights, do we? But what we're going to be doing is, we did a certain set of experiments last week. This Saturday coming, we're going to change them around. So we're doing different experiments. And we're going to do different rooms, because we're going to do the front stairs as well this Saturday.
Cool.
So that'll be good.
Yeah, you'll have to see if you can find out who the person is that runs up and down those stairs every night.
Sarah says, that's cool, Jane, I think, with your book.
Oh, and then we have a little drawing of the hooded figure.
The hooded figure. Amy says, I think Jane needs a pay rise. Get off,
and more holiday, Amy.
get off that comment quick. This is from Biff, watching on YouTube, because Biff likes YouTube. Not overly fussed with all the gadgetry, but I do think automatic writing could benefit from a bit of technology, i.e. imagine like a big iPad you could keep wiping clean, so writing is a lot more clear. Oh, that's an interesting one.
You need an Etch-a-Sketch.
Craig says, interesting. And Sarah says, you need to become a member, Craig. You get to see so much more, well worth it. Thanks, Sarah. Gary says, as long as it's not asking for a holiday for Jane. And Bloss says, what, my stairs? Yes, your stairs, Bloss. You can watch it. We're going to start off on the front stairs this Saturday, so you can see your dreaded stairs. Karen says, I had a dream I was dragged across the floor at the centre. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the first person that's had that dream. I know a couple of other people that have had dreams of them being dragged across the floor at the centre.
As long as there's a camera on them.
It's when you get dragged around the ceiling, you got to worry.
Okay, Craig says Gansfeld experiment. Yes, that's on my list. We're going to do that. Not this Saturday, Saturday after. So we are going to do the Gansfeld experiment in a couple of weeks. Oh, wrong one. Bear with me. Amy says, I was going to say you need an extra holiday. No need for this language, Amy. Sarah says, maybe use one of those kids' magic writing pads for automatic writing. The ones you just keep wiping clean and use again. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Craig says, I'm there. And he says, yes, please. That will be sweet. And then he says, be careful. Quite a few people have said be careful to us. So what's your response to that then, Jane?
Well, we are always careful. You know, we always do whatever we do. And however mad it seems at times, we do sort of assess the risks. And we do generally have contingency plans in place, and we do thoroughly think it all through before we do any of it, because we don't want to put ourselves at risk, but at the same time we don't want to protect ourselves either, so we limit the experience that we might get from the experiment. So, you know, we do think everything through fully, and you know, even when we're doing the experiments, I do watch people, you know, changes in body language, changes in way they talk or anything like that. So it's all, you know, it's all well sort of looked after.
Yeah, and that's I think that's why it's important for you to be watching Jane, because you can watch us obviously, and when you're there, we'll be okay anyway. But as long as you're watching and you can get through to us some way anyway, that's important. I think last Saturday in the science room was pushing the limits a bit, but I think this Saturday we're going to push it even more.
Yeah.
I've only told Jane and Amy what we're doing in the science room.
Yeah.
And Amy says I can't wait for the plans this week. Yeah, that's going to be good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Michelle says, I use a whiteboard and black pen, wipes clean.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
And Gary says, risks, what risks?
Oh, the only risk you need to worry about, Gary, is not having enough bourbons or or biscuits in the tin.
as long as I can have a cup of green tea.
Yeah.
Craig says he does remote energy work.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
You've done some of that as well, Jane, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Michelle says, I'm working this weekend in night, so you can't watch it live then, Michelle. You have to catch up.
Oh dear, never mind. You'll be all right catching up.
Okay, Anna says, Neil, did you believe that an angel came through on the Ouija board in the science room? Well, that's what it said. What do you think came through? You know when it says it was an angel, Jane?
Yeah.
I don't particularly believe that bit. but I don't know.
I think in order to give it a bit more sort of credibility, I think it would need to talk for longer and give a bit more information. You know, it may well have been an angel, but it didn't particularly give us enough information, did it, to sort of make it credible?
No.
And that's sort of, you know, and we know that, you know, we've already said that it was quite busy in there. You know, whether there were some stronger spirits in there pushing others out the way to get in, and you know, that could be quite likely, because the room was sort of full of people wanting to sort of get onto the board, and you know, the spirits were sort of coming in and out quite quickly, weren't they?
So do you think the place is getting more busy?
I think it's just busy anyway, and I've always said, you know, it does, the centre does act like a beacon in the spirit world, and it shines quite a bright light, and I think a lot of spirits just come in anyway, just to see what's going on. But when we've got Ouija boards and other experiments going on, you know, if they've got that compatibility and that their energy can work with us, then I'm sure that they'll just jump in and you know, communicate if they can.
Because I thought it was interesting at the start in the tea room, a spirit came in who lived in the building before our building was built.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
We know there's been buildings on that site for at least, I don't know, 600-700 years. 1100s, wasn't it? The town first started, and the castle was there, and that is on the edge of the marketplace. And Inkley Market, we know, has been going for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Von says, hi, sorry I'm late, I fell asleep. So did I earlier, Von. Colette says, love the intro to the live feed, Neil. What music is that? You'll have to ask Amy that, because she made the intro for us. So no doubt if Amy's still watching, she'll let you know what the music is. So, Shane, are you looking forward to this Saturday night one?
I am, because I think, you know, if you're doing different experiments again in different areas, it's just going to be completely different, isn't it? It's not like you're watching the same old stuff in the same areas. Yeah.
I'm especially looking forward to the sounds room again, because I think, because that idea just came to my head, which is always a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're doing some work with the red box as well, that would be good, because I'm hoping that he's as strong as he used to be.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Okay, the music to the intro is called The Lullaby of Woe. There you go, Colette. So there's no more comments at the minute. So what are you hoping for on Saturday, Jane?
I would really like to see, you know, I'd really like to see some intense activity that sort of, that does scare you a bit. That'd be good.
Thanks, Jane.
No, but we know in the war room, you know, the shelter seems to be gathering more and more strength, doesn't it? And
I actually think the war room is the most active room now. It's always been a good room.
Yeah, I think the work that we've done in there and some of the experiments that we've done in there have sort of paid off, really. And I think it will just gather more and more strength anyway.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question for you, Jane. Sarah says, does Jane have a theory as to why yourself, Amy and Ant get such good activity on the Ouija board, as quite often when on investigation we get nothing? Which is a good comment.
Yeah, I think there's several reasons for it. I think one, the energy in the building is good anyway, and basically how we work is we invite anything and everything in, and there's no protection or anything, so you know, there's nothing restricting any spirits coming through whatsoever. Also, the way that we work on the board, you know, if you like, we have our full consent and we have that full belief that what we're working with is real, and we have that intent as well. So generally before we work on the boards or do experiments, I mean, I know myself, I send out quite a few days before the thoughts and my expectations, if you like, of what I'd like Spirit to do. And they never seem to fail. But sending out your thoughts is sending out that message of consent, if you like, and we want them to come through. We want them to work with us.
Yeah.
And also, you know, the blending of the energies of the people around the board. Everybody trusts each other. Everybody's relaxed. Everybody's laid back, and everybody has that same passion, if you like, and that same commitment in working with Spirit. And whatever comes through, we will just work with it and respectfully and in a good way. And I think Spirit rewards us for that.
Yeah.
So we never sort of have a dull moment, really, because we send us the word to Spirit that that's what we want, and Spirit will give that back to us. You know, we have to earn that respect and that
that's right,
that activity, and they give it back to us.
Yeah. Gary says, can't wait for Saturday night's live feed. Looking forward to that. Colette said, oh, thanks. Von thought the same question as Sarah about the Ouija board. I did actually make a comment on Saturday night that you know, Ouija boards sometimes take a while to build up, don't they?
Yeah.
But it seems that as soon as we start, they're there, eager to talk to us, and we get movement straight away, which is fantastic, because people who know me know if I was sitting around a Ouija board for 10 minutes and nothing happened, I'd get bored with it. I'd move on. Yeah. So it's good that we get something on the straight away.
I think the Spirit know that as well, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, they're there in the building. They hear what you're talking about. They'll be listening, and you know, there's dozens and dozens of spirits up there, and they'll all be queuing up to try and talk if they've got a message.
Yeah. Amy says, I think Neil should do a lone vigil. Get rid of that comment quick. Michelle says, just seen anything walk past behind Jane. So you might have someone there with you, Jane.
Well, possibly. I doubt it, though. They all know that this space is my space. Yeah. It's a unless I invite them in.
Yeah. It's your safe zone, isn't it?
It is.
Biff says, War Room's been my favourite for a bit. Last seance, I wanted to be in there. Yeah, the War Room is special, especially now with the shelter. Anna says, completely agree, Jane. Gail's watching. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Gail.
Biff says, think since we had the flash of light in the War Room, I felt there's something special about that room. Yeah, we've had that flash of blue light a few times now, not just in the War Room.
Yeah.
Oh, I've gone too far again. Okay, then. Sarah says, thanks, Jane. I think when we get the Ouija board out on an investigation, it's a spontaneous thing, not planned or thought about. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you're gonna if it's spontaneous and you get your board out there and then, you're gonna more or less have to wait for the board, if you like, to warm up for that. You know, you've got to send your thought out there and then, and it's going to take Spirit a while to actually sort of come through and start working and warming up the board and everything else. You know, and then by the time it's doing that, you're already sort of bored because nothing's happening, and it does take time. But in the centre, you know, with the Ouija boards now, you know, you can more or less hit the ground running because they're already there. They already know what we want. We've already sent the thoughts out, and it's already warmed up and ready to go.
Plus, we never close our boards down.
No, and they're already charged with energy, like Neil, because Neil's working on the board sort of most of the time now. They'll be charged with Neil's energy anyway, like his dowsing rods and that. So the energy's already in there. So, you know, and it's already there to go.
Yeah. Von says, I think it's because the spirits are used to you as well. They trust you. Yes, they certainly do. The good thing for me, just lately, Robert, you know, the cheeky Robert.
Yeah.
From the Raggedy Ann doll, he's been really chatty just lately. which is nice. And I've been getting stuff happening at home, you know.
Yeah, you said about the tap.
The tap turned on. I was sitting in the lounge, I could hear it in the kitchen, the tap turned on. I thought, strange. And then you could hear the water running, then it turned off. There was no one else in the house. And Robert says he turned it on, but little Robert said that's naughty, so he turned it off. So
yeah,
cheeky Robert is teaching little Robert some bad tricks, I reckon.
Yeah, well, he is quite a naughty boy. He can be quite quite naughty in a nasty sort of way at times.
Yeah. Okay, another comment from Sarah. Also, I think it depends on the beliefs and the energies on the people partaking in the board.
Yeah.
Definitely. Gail says, looking forward to coming back to do some investigations again, missing the whole place. Hopefully it won't be too long. Hopefully not. But I don't know when that's going to be. And missing my buddies. Then Gail says, hi Neil and Jane, love your Xmas hat, Jane.
Yeah, it's even got bells on it.
God. Michelle says, I open up tonight before I do readings, investigations. Yep. Bloss loves him. Adonis, Robert likes to joke around. Yes, he does. He's cheeky. So what about all the other live feeds then, Jane? Are you think they're going well?
Yeah, I think it'd be I've seen that you put a post up doing about perhaps Ouija boards back in your own home again. I think that'll be interesting because they were different experiments of a different kind, weren't they? Because you were previously sending out the thought of who you wanted.
Yeah.
And that was that's what you were getting, because you were a bit worried about bringing anything negative into the house. But, you know, with the intent, that makes all the difference.
I think that's important on investigations as well. If you, like we did in the sounds room, I wanted to talk to Aleister Crowley. So it was all set up to talk to Aleister Crowley, and all week the thoughts were going out there. We put his death mask there. We had him actually speaking, doing his chant. So I think that helped us bringing him forward.
Yeah, and he has been popping up a few times, hasn't he, lately?
He's getting more regular now, isn't he?
Yeah, but
Definitely.
I do think he has had a constant presence anyway, because even when Paul Stevenson was there and he'd got his EVP or his spirit box, I can't remember what it was, you clearly heard it say Aleister Crowley, and he asked again who it was, and it clearly said Aleister Crowley. Now that's the sort of thing that you don't necessarily get on radio waves. You know, when people say sometimes it's just random radio waves and people make them fit, well, that really wasn't the case that night.
Yeah, that was awesome. So I think that's what's going to make this Saturday in the sounds room especially interesting.
Yeah,
with what I'm planning.
Yeah, but I think it's good that you're doing experiments on the other places as well. On the is it on the front stairs where you're doing it?
We're going to do the front stairs, and we might do the back stairs as well, because we didn't do them last week.
Yeah, is that where you're doing your lone vigil, on the back stairs?
No.
No, we have done it there once before, hasn't it? And it did get a bit.
It got a bit
close to the knuckle, didn't it?
Got a bit hairy that night, didn't it? To be honest, since the door's been open, since we got downstairs last February, the back stairs seem to have quietened down a bit. But then we haven't investigated that, have we?
No.
Because you've been pushed there before.
I am punched in the back, yeah. Pushed at the top of the stairs, yeah.
So there's plenty more to come, I reckon. Gail says, "Here I'll come, Jane, little Tinkerbell." You little Tinkerbell, you, Jane.
Oh, sugar plum fairy.
Kevin says he loves the hat. Sarah says, "Think you should do your lone vigil in the loony. I might see some legs."
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you were on your own though, weren't you?
I was on my own that day, yeah. I know where I'm doing my lone vigil, and it's going to be something totally different again because of what I've been experiencing in my dreams. I've told you about it, haven't I, Jane?
Yeah. So
it is going to be totally different. But it's not going to be in a nasty room. Gary said he should do that. Susan says, "Hi, Jane and Neil. Quick question. My 10-year-old son wants to go on the Ouija board. Is it safe for children to use or not? Can you give us some advice, Jane?"
I think that depends on your own beliefs as well. A lot of people will say no, don't do it. And it all depends as well if you're going to be there sort of supervising him and how sort of mature and sensible he is. If he wanted to do it, you know, and you're going to be there, and he wanted to say do it to perhaps contact a granddad or great granddad or something like that, if he feels that these people have been around him, then you could quite easily sit in and help him do that. Yeah. If he's going to be doing it with a bunch of mates and you're not quite sure what they're going to be getting up to, and you know they think they might be conjuring up Beelzebub and all his servants, then you know, I think it's really down to your own beliefs and what you think and how he should do it, really, because at the end of the day, he is your child and you are responsible for his welfare. So, but you know, I started going on the Ouija board when I was really quite young with my mum, and that's how I started. So
yeah, but look how you've ended up.
Yeah, look how I turned out. So
what we say though, age doesn't really come into it, does it though, Jane? Because a 10-year-old could be just as mature as another 18-year-old.
Yeah, and like I said, it depends who you're doing it with.
Yeah.
What your intention is, and I think, you know, I don't want to say no, don't do it, because he could do it and it could be a real, you know, fascinating experience for him if it's done correctly. As his parent.
Plus, it's down to the intent as well, like you said. If as long as he says, "I just want my family members to come through," as far as I'm concerned, that's all that will come through. Yeah.
But you see, I mean, I've seen a lot of people recently, and they you know, where Ouija, you either love Ouija boards or you hate them. And I've seen a lot of people saying you should not use them unless you're experienced and you know what you're doing. But how are you supposed to get experienced and teach people how to use them if they can't go on them until they're experienced?
Yeah, that's right.
It's the same with anything, isn't it? How you expect people to learn and to use these things properly if they can't go on them until they're experienced?
Yeah, that's
it's like
right.
Saying to somebody, you can't do the job unless you're qualified. But how do you train to get qualified to do the job that you want to do?
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, I'll throw this one over to you again, Jane. Kev says, "What is the most active exhibit or room?"
Well, firstly, I always think the mirror, because I like the mirror and I've worked with it quite a bit, and you know, we've seen quite a lot of activity with it. I do think the shelter is producing some really good results. I think that's quite a, you know, since that's been in the war room, that's provided quite a lot of activity.
Yeah, I agree.
Shush.
That's not a spirit dog.
No, she's under my desk, sitting on my feet. I'm trying to kick her, but she's not working. Yeah, so I think they're the two main exhibits at the minute, and they provide some real good activity in the rooms that they're in.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sarah says, do you ever get activity in the office, Neil? Yes, we do. And the office is going to be another new room Saturday night that it's going to be part of the live feed. So we're doing the office as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the whole building is very active, wherever you are in the building.
Yeah. This is Amy, and this is to Susan. Push him onto the teen. We do have an HAPRC Teen Academy where all youngsters can talk to each other. So if you're interested in your son, I think it was, to join that, it's a Facebook page, so he can talk to teenagers about the paranormal. Then she says, Susan says, is to contact my mum. He was really close with her. It will be with me.
Yeah.
That was about the Ouija board.
Yeah, all I can say is just give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah. Then Amy says, look at me, my daughter is more mature than me.
Yeah.
No comment. Gary says 3 of my kids do Ouija board with us at the centre. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the Ouija board is anything to be feared. The main thing is your intent. Who do you want to come through?
Yeah.
And like Jane said earlier, if you send your thoughts out to your mum, Susan, there's a good chance that she is going to come through on it.
Yeah.
Kevin says, what piece of paranormal equipment do you get the best results with at the centre? What are your thoughts on that, Jane?
Well, I see, I like all the equipment, and I know a lot of people say there's old school all the equipment, but I do strongly feel that there is a place for all of it in together. And the way I work is I like to ask spirit, once I've connected with the spirit, I like to ask them what sort of bit of equipment that they can use in order for us to get the best communication. Sometimes it's the REM pod, sometimes it's a K2, sometimes it's a Ouija board, or sometimes it's Neil's dowsing rods. So to me, all the equipment is valuable, because if we get, when we connect with spirit and they tell us, it was like how we caught the blue face video.
Yeah.
I asked the chap how he wanted to show himself to us, and it was a case of get the FLIR camera, and we got the FLIR camera, switched it on, and we captured him straight away. So I think it's, I feel all the equipment is valuable, just in different, in different, with whatever you're working with, different spirits with what you're working with.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So there's no more comments at the minute. Oh, we have. Kevin again. How many spirits do you believe you have interacted with at the centre?
Oh, dozens and dozens. If you could see my book, my little book is, see, my little book here is absolutely full of drawings of things in the centre. And see, this book is, the first 2 years is this first book, and that's already sort of full. And there's just so many up there, but there's so many will just randomly come in. I mean, at one point we did a seance, and it was when the Hinckley Fair, do you remember? The Hinckley Fair was in the marketplace, the fun fair, and as that was all closing down, we were doing this seance, but the room just seemed to be flooded with spirit. It was if like all these spirit had come around, all these people at the fair. Once fair was over and everybody was going home, all these spirits were just dispersing everywhere, and it was just like a bit of a tidal wave, and they were all just coming through, all on the way home or doing whatever. And that was really quite a unique experience, because we hadn't experienced that before. So I think when there's big social gatherings, I think there's big gatherings of spirit as well, and it was quite amazing, really.
Yeah, there's probably dozens and dozens who are there all the time, whether
Yeah.
they're connected to the building or to an item.
Yeah.
They'll be there all the time, and they do pick and choose who they speak to.
Yeah.
Because they've told us that if anyone's disrespectful to anything at the centre, they won't speak to them. This is the good ones in the dolls room. So
Yeah.
they know. I think they know us. So if they sense that we don't particularly like someone, they won't talk to them.
Yeah. And there's quite a few categories that they will sort of fall into, because you've got the spirits of the building, the spirits that are attached to the building. You've got the spirits that are attached to the items. You've got spirits that just randomly come in and out anyway. You've got the spirits that are sort of attached to people that come up to the centre. And then you've got things like all the creatures and all the other weird bits and pieces and things that we've got up there. So it's a real mixed bag of all sorts.
Plus we've got the mirror in the sounds room.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one for you, Jane. RJ Turnant says, Ouija board is of cleansed homes because boards are spirits playing knocking 9 door. And if one of you opens the door, mediums like myself must close these doors. Ouija boards attaches to the weakest link.
Well, I think again, that just depends on your beliefs. As a medium myself, you know, I've been to people's houses and help people deal with things that are whatever in their houses. But not every Ouija board session will bring things out, and not every time people work with Ouija boards do they get things attached to them. I'm not quite sure what Knocky 9 door is, but when you say open the door, you see, our doors are always open anyway, so nobody closes them. Nobody's allowed to close anything down in the centre.
No.
Or to banish anything, or to close anything. So
that's down to you, isn't it, Jane? If someone comes to me one Saturday night when the team's investigating and say to me, Neil, there's a spirit who wants to move on, I'll just say, okay, then when Jane comes up, if they say to Jane they want to move on, Jane will move them on.
Yeah.
That's
and it has happened, doesn't it? You know, we have moved quite a few on in the centre.
It has.
You know, when we did when we first did that a little while ago, when we did the first session with the shelter, and that little boy came through on his own, didn't he? And we moved him on.
Yeah.
To be with his mum. So, you know, if it needs to happen, it will happen.
Yeah. Okay, another comment from Kevin. Neil, if you could get any new piece of paranormal antique exhibit, what would it be? People have asked me quite a few times, is there any item that we wouldn't have? And I always say no, there's not. If I could get the real Annabelle doll at the centre, I would have it. Or if I could have Robert the doll, I would have it. But I'm interested in the war items. I think the war room's an amazing room. So any war item would be interesting. But I'd take anything really. If I've offered the most demonic doll in the world, we'd have it. Do you echo that, Jane?
Yeah, because we are a research centre, and we want to, in order for us to sort of document things and to move things forward and to learn about things, we need to take things as far as they'll go. There's no point of saying, oh, I'm not going to work with that because it scares me, or it's demonic, or whatever. You know, we will still work with that to its full potential, to just try and learn as much as we can, because otherwise we're never going to learn anything.
Yeah. Having said that, I enjoy it just as much like I did Saturday night talking to Robert, or a couple of weeks ago when me and Ant were talking to a young boy called Jamie, because it's such a nice paranormal story, that what they were telling us. So I'm not all about negative, but if they come, we'll take it. But if some nice children come, we'll take it. If nice ladies come,
Yeah.
So it's not just all about negative spirits.
No, well, any communication with spirit is always a good thing, isn't it? Because that's what we're there for.
Yeah. Okay.
But if anything negative does come through, we're not just going to not work with it just because it's negative.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah's comment. When you have a night when there are a lot of spirit waiting to communicate with you, how do you think they decide who steps forward first? Let's go to you first, Jane.
Well, I know from when I was doing platform mediumship, they do tend to queue up as such, and it's just a case of letting them come in, whoever's sort of at the front of the queue, if you like, letting them come in and say what they want to do, say what they want to say, do what they want to do, or, you know, give you whatever message it is. And then generally when they sort of get their message, you know, they will move aside and let somebody else come in. It's they sort out their own pecking order.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you think
it's generally down to who needs the message the most, who needs, you know, who's got what to say, and how important that message is.
But we have had experience, especially on the Ouija boards, Saturday night. I think we were talking to a nice spirit, and then he sort of got pushed off, and a regular one came in, but he will never talk to us sensibly. Do you think that's because he was more stronger or more used to what we're doing?
I'm not sure if it's a question of strength. I think sometimes it's a case of they will just do, you know, even though he didn't necessarily talk properly, he probably just did what he could do.
Yeah.
In that space of time.
Yeah.
So
okay.
he's.
Go on.
No, I'm just going to say. So they're using the most of the time that they've got and the energy that they've got to communicate whatever they can, you know, whatever they want to say.
Yeah. Oh, Amy says, if anyone's got any poppies, send them to let us have it, because we're doing poppies in the war room as well.
Oh.
Kevin says, I will come and see you soon. The centre really interests me. I think you'll love it. The centre is a weird place, isn't it, Jane?
It is.
I know we're bound to say it's unique, but it is unique. The centre sort of grabs people, doesn't it?
It does.
And it's like it grabs your soul, and you just can't keep away from the place, which is a bit weird. Von says, you've had that spirit before. He is a bit of a pest. Yeah, because they do frustrate me when they won't won't answer us properly, but that's up to them, isn't it? Now, this one in particular, you ask him his name and all he'll say is me. And that's all he says. So that's up to him. So would you believe it's 2 minutes to 9?
Blimey, that's gone really quick.
So
give us a quick rundown then. What's happening over the weekend? You know, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, live feeds. What's your plan?
Friday we are doing a 1 hour members only live feed. I've not decided what we're doing yet, so we're doing that's Friday. Saturday we're doing the 3 hour live feed to everyone, so everyone can watch. If you're watching and you want to share it, you're welcome to. We won't ask for stars or anything like that rubbish. Just come and watch it and see it and voice your opinions. Join us in the chat, because Jane and Tina will be able to see the chat, and they'll be able to talk to you when we're moving around. We are going to feature one item from now on the live feeds, because that's what people have asked us to do. So this week we are featuring the red haunted box with the wax, and that's going to be in the sounds room. So that's I've got a plan for that, so that should be good fun. And then we're going to go into the front stairs. We're going to go into the office. So we're just going to mix it up, so it's not always the same.
Yeah, that's good then. And just very quickly, looks like we've got quite a few new people watching. So if anybody does want to become a member, how do they do that?
Yes, if you want to become a member, it's £25 for life. You do that by just messaging me, and I'll run through it. It's basically just you pay your £25 life membership, and I'll add you to the members' own Facebook page, and that's where the exclusive videos go.
Cool.
So perfect for Christmas. And don't forget, there is a book about the centre.
There is.
There is a book about the centre called Mercurius and the Shattered Mirror. You can get it off Amazon, but you can also get it from me. If you buy it from me, I will sign it for you.
Free of charge?
I sign it free of charge. So we're not like other people who charge you £5 just for a signature. It's Amy's on page 130. And Gail says, well worth becoming a member, guys. Yes, hopefully. So so
cool.
lots and lots coming up.
And
go on, Jane.
very quickly, what about the parameet? You just need a quick plug on the parameet.
Oh yes, starting on Boxing Night, we are doing a parameet. It's for 6 nights between 7 and 12 or 7 and 11. Where we're getting different people to come and talk about what they do. Lots of different subjects. So it's not just about the well-known people in the paranormal, because you got the Paracon for all that. So we're having the smaller teams who work really, really hard throughout the year. So then getting some recognition.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's about it.
That's it. So thank you for joining us, everyone. It's been great to have you all on board, chatting and joining in. And we will see you next week. Yeah,
we're back Monday, aren't we?
Back Monday and Tuesday. Haunted Connection and the live discussion back on Monday. Haunted Connections on Tuesday. So join us at 8 o'clock on both nights. And we will see you all soon. So take care, stay safe and be good.
Don't forget the live feed to everybody. It's free to watch on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
And if you want to watch on YouTube, please subscribe, because we want to build the YouTube channel up a bit. And you can watch us on the big telly.
Yeah.
That's scary enough anyway.
It is. Get your popcorn in.
So thanks for watching. Thanks for all the comments, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Bye.